There's a moment, maybe you've felt it, when your chest tightens, your breath shortens, your thoughts spin out of control, and suddenly nothing feels safe. The world doesn't change, but you do. You freeze, you shake, you panic, and in that moment, it feels like you're drowning in your own body, trapped in a storm that no one else can see. You ask yourself, am I broken? Will this ever stop? What's wrong with me? Let me tell you something, and I need you to believe this. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not alone. Panic attacks are not your identity. Fear is not your forever. What you're feeling is real, but it is not permanent. This is not the end of your story. It's just a chapter, and together, we're going to turn the page. This audiobook isn't just information, it's a lifeline. A voice in the dark reminding you that you're not crazy, you're not powerless, and you are not beyond healing. You are human, and you can rise. Understanding the storm. What a panic attack really is before you can calm the storm. You have to understand it. Panic attacks can feel like the most terrifying, disorienting experience in the world. You're sitting in your car, standing in line, lying in bed, and suddenly, without warning, something shifts. Your chest gets tight, your heart starts racing, you feel dizzy, detached from your surroundings. You might feel like you can't breathe, like you're losing control, like you're dying. It doesn't make sense, and that's what makes it even more terrifying. You look around and everyone else seems fine, but inside your body, it feels like an emergency. The panic rushes in like a wave, and in that moment, you feel helpless to stop it. But here's the first truth you need to hold onto. You are not dying. You are not losing your mind. You are experiencing a surge of survival energy, your body's natural response to perceived danger. That's what a panic attack really is. It is your nervous system going into high alert, flipping a switch that's designed to protect you from harm. Your brain senses a threat, real or imagined, and floods your body with adrenaline. Your heart speeds up to move blood faster. Your breathing quickens to bring in more oxygen. Your muscles tense to get ready to run or fight. It's your body trying to save your life even when there's no actual danger. The panic feels real because your body believes it's real. But fear doesn't always tell the truth. And in a panic attack, the alarm system that's supposed to keep you safe has become overactive, hypersensitive, triggered not by lions or fires but by stress, exhaustion, past trauma, or even a single intrusive thought. You're not crazy for feeling this way. You're not weak. You're not broken. You are human. And your body is reacting exactly how it was built to, just in the wrong context. Most people who experience panic attacks think something is wrong with them. They fear they're losing control, going insane, or developing some dangerous condition. But part of healing is realizing this. A panic attack is intense, but it is not dangerous. It cannot harm you. It cannot kill you. It cannot trap you forever. It is a storm, but storms pass. Always. Once you understand the mechanics, the fear starts to loosen its grip. It's not that the symptoms vanish overnight, but the mystery begins to lift. You start to see it not as a monster out to destroy you, but as a messenger, one that's been misunderstood. Your body is not your enemy. It's crying out for safety, for calm, for release. And when you listen, really listen, you begin to shift. You start to realize that this is not a life sentence. It's a signal, a call to slow down, a call to reconnect, a call to breathe again. We live in a world that pushes us to our limits. Constant stimulation, constant pressure. We're expected to perform, produce, and never break. But anxiety is your body's way of saying, I can't carry all this anymore. And panic is when your nervous system screams because the whisper went unheard. It's not weakness, it's overload. And your healing starts not with fighting it, not with fearing it, but with understanding it. You may have spent years avoiding your fear, running from it, resisting it. But now, you're turning toward it with knowledge. And knowledge is power. Not the kind that overpowers, but the kind that grounds. The kind that reminds you, you are not unsafe, you are overstimulated. You are not out of control, you are overwhelmed. And just because the storm is loud does not mean you are lost inside of it. You can learn to weather it. You can learn to come back to yourself. The moment you stop seeing panic as an enemy and start seeing it as an internal signal, is the moment the fear begins to loosen. This is the first step. Not to eliminate the storm, but to understand it. And once you understand it, you'll stop running from it. Because what you understand, you can face. And what you face, you can overcome. You are not your fear. Separating identity from emotion. Fear is a feeling, but too often we start to wear it like a name tag. Somewhere along the way, fear doesn't just become something we experience, it becomes who we think we are. I have anxiety turns into I am anxious. I struggle with fear. Slowly morphs into I am fearful. And before we even realize it, we've accepted a false identity that was never ours to begin with. We start defining ourselves by our most difficult moments, labeling ourselves with the pain we've carried, and forgetting the person who existed before fear took up space in our mind. But listen closely, you are not your fear. You are not your panic attacks. You are not your racing thoughts. You are not the trembling in your hands or the knot in your chest. These are things you experience. Yes, but they are not the full truth of who you are. They are a small part of a much bigger story, a moment in time, not your entire identity. Fear is an emotion. It is real. It is powerful. But it is also temporary. It rises and falls. It shows up without warning and often leaves just as quickly. It can overwhelm, but it cannot define unless you let it. And most importantly, it is not a reflection of your worth, your intelligence, your strength, or your future. It's just a signal, loud, disruptive, sometimes confusing, but still just a signal. And that signal is not the whole of you. You are the one observing the fear. You are the one noticing the panic. You are the awareness beneath the experience. That means there's a part of you that is untouched by it, even in the middle of it. There is a deeper you, a calm you, a wise you, a powerful you that still exists underneath the chaos. That part of you may feel quiet. It may feel buried. But it is there. And reconnecting with that part is how you begin to rise. Too often, fear convinces us that we're fragile, that we can't handle discomfort, that we'll fall apart under pressure. But what if that's not true? What if the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still searching, still fighting to understand what's happening inside of you is actually proof of your strength? What if fear hasn't made you weak, but aware of your body, aware of your mind, aware of the deep, internal shifts happening within you? What if this whole time you've mistaken that sensitivity for a flaw when really it's been a doorway to healing? You are allowed to feel afraid. You are allowed to be overwhelmed. You are allowed to have hard days, to cry, to shake, to question everything. But you are not obligated to turn those moments into your identity. Pain is not personality. Panic is not a personality trait. It's a human response to pressure, to trauma, to overstimulation. And like all emotions, it can move through you without becoming you. You are not defined by what frightens you. You are defined by how you respond to it. Every time you show up, every time you breathe through the moment, every time you choose to stay rather than run, every time you come back to yourself, instead of disappearing into fear, you're proving who you really are. And who you are is not small. You are not helpless. You are not weak. You are not damaged. You are resilient. You are rising. You are reclaiming your voice from the grip of fear and rewriting the story in real time. You are a living, breathing example of what it means to endure and still keep walking forward, even when everything in your body tells you to freeze. Let fear pass through, but don't let it plant roots. Feel it, face it, name it, but do not wear it. You were someone before fear. You are someone beyond it. And that truth can never be taken away. Rewiring your response. The power of awareness and breath. Panic attacks feel like they come out of nowhere, like an ambush you didn't see coming. 1 minute you're fine, the next you're spiraling, caught in a rush of fear, heart pounding, thoughts racing, body trembling. But what if I told you there is a way to interrupt that spiral? What if, instead of being dragged under by the current, you could learn to stand still in the middle of it, not by force, not by pretending, but by reconnecting with the one tool that's always with you, always available, always within your control, your breath? The breath is not just a function of the body, it is a language. It speaks directly to your nervous system. It tells your brain whether you are in danger or at peace. When you're anxious, your breathing becomes shallow and fast. That's not just a symptom of panic, it's part of the signal that keeps it going. Your brain reads those rapid breaths as confirmation that something is wrong. But when you consciously slow your breathing, something remarkable happens. You send a different message. You begin to speak back to your fear, not with words, but with presence. You don't need to master a complicated technique. You don't need to become a meditation expert. All you need is a moment of awareness, a single breath, taken on purpose. Inhale slowly. Feel the air move into your lungs. Pause. Exhale gently, and do it again. In the middle of the storm, that breath becomes your anchor. It doesn't eliminate the fear in 1 second, but it creates space. Space between you and the panic. Space between the thought and your reaction. And sometimes that space is enough to stop the full wave from crashing down. But breath alone is only part of it. The other part is awareness. That means learning to recognize the early signals not just when you're already in panic, but when it's building. Maybe your shoulders start to tense. Maybe your thoughts begin to loop. Maybe your stomach tightens. Those are whispers before the scream. And when you learn to notice them, you give yourself the chance to respond, not just react. Awareness is not about analyzing every feeling. It's not about controlling every thought. It's about recognizing what's happening inside of you without judgment and choosing how to respond. That's the beginning of rewiring. You've trained your body to react with panic often without even realizing it. But just like a habit is built, it can be unbuilt. And just like fear was conditioned into you, calm can be practiced back into you. It won't be perfect. It won't be instant. But it will be powerful. Because every time you choose awareness over autopilot, breath over chaos, you are literally creating new neural pathways. You are retraining your brain to understand that discomfort does not mean danger, and that fear does not need to escalate into a full-blown attack. There is something deeply empowering about realizing that even in the most helpless moments, you still have a tool. You still have choice. You still have breath. And that breath can lead you home to yourself. You don't need to fix your fear to start healing. You just need to interrupt it, not with force, but with presence, with a calm, grounded response. That tells your nervous system, I see what's happening, but I am not in danger. I am safe. I am here. I am in control. And that control is not the absence of fear, it's the return of power. Power in the pause. Power in the breath. Power in the quiet decision to respond with grace when everything inside you wants to run or hide. This is the beginning of a new relationship with your body, your mind, and your fear. One built not on resistance, but on awareness, on softness, on the steady, silent rhythm of your breath guiding you back to yourself over and over again. Even in the darkest moments, the lies fear tells you. Challenging the thoughts that trap you for doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It slips in quietly, weaving itself into your thoughts until you start believing the worst-case scenario is the most likely one. It tells you stories that sound true because they're familiar, stories that repeat until they become your inner soundtrack. Fear tells you that you're not safe, that something bad is about to happen, that you won't be able to handle it when it does. It tells you that you'll lose control, that people will see you fall apart, that you'll be judged, left behind, or stuck forever. But here's what you need to understand. Just because a thought is loud does not mean it is true. Panic and anxiety don't start with your body, they start with your thoughts. Your heart doesn't just randomly start pounding. Your breath doesn't just become shallow for no reason. What often sets it all in motion is a single, unnoticed sentence in your mind. What if something's wrong with me? What if I can't handle this? What if I panic right here in public? And those thoughts trigger your body to respond because your mind and body are always in conversation. The body responds as if the threat is real, even if the danger is only imagined. And so, the cycle begins. Fear tells you that the worst-case scenario is the most realistic one. It convinces you that you have to prepare for the worst, rehearse disaster, brace for impact at all times. But fear is a liar. Its job is to keep you safe, but in doing so, it often keeps you small, confined, paralyzed. It doesn't care about truth, it cares about survival. And the problem is, it doesn't always know the difference between a real threat and an uncomfortable moment. A crowded store, a tight deadline, an awkward silence. Your body reacts as if these are life or death situations, and your mind starts running scripts that feel impossible to ignore. But here's where your power begins. You are not obligated to believe every thought that passes through your mind. Your thoughts are not facts. They are interpretations. They are possibilities. They are fragments shaped by memory, emotion, trauma, habit, and just as they were formed, they can be rewritten. That rewriting begins with one simple question. Is this true? The next time a thought rushes in that triggers fear, pause and ask, is this absolutely, unshakably true? More often than not, the answer will be no. Fear tells you you're alone, but you're not. Fear tells you you're too weak, but the fact that you're still here, still listening, still searching for healing, is proof of your strength. Fear tells you that panic means you're broken, but it doesn't. It means your nervous system is trying to protect you in a moment that doesn't require protection. And fear tells you that you'll never get better, but it's lying, because people heal every single day, and you are not the exception. One of the most powerful things you can do when anxiety rises is to begin talking back. Not in anger, but in truth. When the thought says, I can't handle this, respond with, I've handled this before. When it says, everyone is judging me, counter with, most people are focused on themselves. When it says, what if I panic and can't escape? Ground yourself in, I know how to breathe. I know how to ride the wave. I've survived this every time. The goal isn't to silence every thought that's impossible. The goal is to stop taking every thought as gospel and start filtering them through truth. Your thoughts are powerful, but you are more powerful than your thoughts. You get to choose which ones you believe, which ones you challenge, and which ones you let go. That choice is where your freedom begins. You may not control when fear shows up, but you do control how you respond to it. And every time you challenge the lie, every time you speak truth over panic, every time you stay grounded when your thoughts try to take you under, you're not just surviving. You're taking back your mind. You're taking back your life. You've survived every panic attack so far. Proof you're stronger than you think. There's something you might not give yourself enough credit for, something that's so obvious, so profound, that it often goes unnoticed. Every panic attack you've ever had, every wave of fear that felt like it would break you, every moment you thought you couldn't survive, you did. You're still here, still breathing, still moving forward, even if it's been messy, even if it's been slow, even if it hasn't always felt like progress. The fear might have been loud, but it didn't win. The anxiety may have knocked you down, but you got back up. You are living proof of your own resilience. Whether you've realized it or not, when panic strikes, it convinces you that this is the one that will finally undo you. It tells you that this time you won't make it through, that this time it's different. It feels unbearable in your chest, in your breath, in your mind. But the truth, the unshakable, undeniable truth is that you have made it through again and again and again. You've endured what felt unendurable. You've stood in the middle of the storm with your heart racing, your mind screaming, your body shaking, and somehow you stayed. Somehow you made it to the other side. That is not weakness. That is not luck. That is strength. Too often we measure strength by how put together someone looks on the outside, by how calm they appear, by how steady they seem. But real strength is surviving invisible battles. It's holding your ground when your brain is telling you to run. It's walking into a room when everything inside you screams that it's unsafe. It's showing up for your life with shaking hands and a pounding heart, refusing to let fear decide how your story will be written. That's a kind of courage that doesn't always get seen, but it should never be forgotten. You may think, I didn't handle it well, or I still panicked, or I felt so out of control. But here's what matters more than how it looked: you made it through. You felt the fear and kept going. You didn't stay stuck. Even if you cried, even if you had to leave, even if it didn't go the way you wanted, it didn't break you. It didn't defeat you. And every time you come through the other side of panic, you're building a track record of survival, a library of lived evidence that says, I can handle this. I've handled this. Your mind may forget it when the next wave hits. That's what anxiety does. It wipes your memory clean in the moment and makes you feel like a beginner again. But deep down, your body remembers. Your spirit remembers. There is a quiet part of you that knows, I've done this before, and I can do it again. Every time you've faced your fear, you've been laying down the foundation of trust with yourself, trust that you are capable, even in the chaos. That trust doesn't eliminate the fear, but it gives you something to hold onto when fear shows up again. Something solid, something real. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to conquer fear in one day. You only need to remember who you are in the middle of it. You are not someone who gives up easily. You are not someone who crumbles under pressure. You are someone who continues, who breathes through it, who finds the strength to try again, who refuses to let one moment define an entire future. The fact that you're still here, still listening, still learning, still showing up for your healing is not just hope. It's evidence. Evidence of grit, evidence of growth, evidence that you are not a victim of your fear, you are a fighter in the face of it. And every panic attack you've survived is not just a moment of pain, it's a monument of proof. Proof that you're stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and far more resilient than the voice of fear has ever given you credit for. Healing is not linear, but it is real. Healing doesn't look like what most people think it does. It's not a straight road. It's not a checklist you complete in order. It's not a constant climb upward without setbacks. Healing is messy. It's unpredictable. It's slow, confusing, and at times painful. Some days you feel like you're making real progress. You feel calm. Your thoughts are clear. Your body feels grounded. You think, maybe I'm finally free from this. And then the next day, or even the next hour, something triggers you. Your heart races. Your breath shortens. The fear is back. And with it comes the crushing thought, I'm right back where I started. But you're not. You are not back at the beginning. You are not losing the battle. You are not failing. You are experiencing something that every single person on a healing journey will face. The reality that healing is not linear. It comes in waves. It loops. It circles. Sometimes you feel like you're spiraling. But what's really happening is deeper integration. You're revisiting old fears not to be consumed by them again, but because your mind and body are now strong enough to process them in a new way. You are going deeper, not backward. It is one of the greatest lies fear tells you, that if you're not constantly improving, you're not healing. That if you feel panic today after feeling peace yesterday, it means something is wrong with you. But that's not the truth. The truth is that healing happens in layers. It's like peeling an onion. Each time you go deeper, things can sting again, feel raw again, trigger old emotions. But underneath every layer is more clarity, more freedom, more understanding of who you really are beneath the fear. You are not broken because you're still struggling. You are not weak because you still have hard days. In fact, the very fact that you notice your struggle, that you care about healing, that you keep trying even when it hurts, that's the mark of someone doing the real work. People who aren't healing don't fight this hard. They don't reflect this deeply. They don't keep showing up again and again with trembling hands and tired hearts, hoping for better days. What you do, that is courage. That is resilience. That is healing in motion. Sometimes we get caught in the trap of timelines. I should be past this by now. I've been working on this for years. Why am I still struggling? But healing doesn't care about your calendar. It doesn't unfold on a schedule. It unfolds on soul time, nervous system time, heart time. It unfolds in ways that are far more mysterious, more intelligent, and more compassionate than we often realize. Every time you soothe yourself, every time you breathe instead of panic, every time you pause before reacting, your brain is rewiring. Your body is listening, even if it doesn't feel like it. Even if you don't see the results right away. Progress is not always loud. Sometimes it's invisible. Sometimes it looks like staying in the room when you would have left before. Sometimes it looks like taking a deep breath before the fear takes over. Sometimes it's not that you didn't feel anxious, it's that you didn't let the anxiety define your whole day. That's healing. Quiet, subtle, unglamorous, but deeply real. You are healing in more ways than you know. Just because you still feel pain does not mean you are stuck. Just because you cried today does not mean you've regressed. Just because fear visited again doesn't mean you haven't grown. You are changing in the most powerful way at the root. And anything that deep takes time. So if today feels heavy, if your mind says you're failing, if the fear feels louder than your progress, remember this truth. You are not where you were. You are moving, even if it's slow. You are growing, even if it's quiet. And you are healing, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Creating a safe space within tools for daily peace when the world around you feels chaotic. And you're Mind becomes loud with worry, fear, and racing thoughts. There is one place that must become sacred, the space within you. It doesn't matter how loud the outside world gets if you can build a safe space. Inside your own mind and body, you can return to peace in the middle of any storm. This inner sanctuary doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be silent. It just needs to be yours, a place where your nervous system can soften, your thoughts can slow, and your heart can begin to feel safe again. Fear thrives in environments where you feel unsafe, unseen, or out of control. That's why creating daily practices that bring you back into your body, back into the present, and back into yourself is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. You don't have to wait for fear to leave to feel peace. You can start creating peace right now, even while the fear is present. Because peace is not the absence of fear. Peace is the decision to stay anchored, even when fear tries to shake you. So how do you create a safe space within? It starts with small, intentional rituals, simple things you do every day that remind your body and mind you are not in danger. You are in control. You are okay. One of the most powerful tools is breath work. But not just when you're panicking. Daily breath work. Practicing slow, intentional breathing for just 5 minutes a day can rewire your nervous system to default to calm instead of chaos. Try inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4, exhaling for 6. As you exhale, imagine releasing tension, releasing fear, releasing the story your mind is trying to tell you. This isn't about perfection, it's about presence. Your breath can become your home, your rhythm, your reset button. Another essential tool is grounding through the senses. When anxiety pulls you into the future or panic detaches you from your body, use your senses to anchor you back. Touch something textured, your clothing, a cool surface, the floor beneath you. Listen closely to the smallest sound in the room. Look at colors, shapes, shadows. Name 5 things you can see right now. These small acts of attention pull you out of the whirlwind in your mind and into the reality of the present moment. And the present moment, more often than not, is safe. Journaling is another way to create emotional space inside yourself. Don't wait until you're overwhelmed to write. Write every day, even if it's only for a few minutes. Let your thoughts spill onto the page. Let your fears be seen in ink instead of swimming endlessly in your head. This process doesn't just release what you're holding in, it helps you understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, you stop feeling like a stranger to your own experience. That's how peace begins, by becoming familiar with your own mind, your own triggers, and your own truth. Your physical space also plays a role. Your home should reflect safety, not chaos. Find or create a small corner, a chair, a room, a window that is just for you. Light a candle, play soft music, read something that calms your soul. Let this space remind you every day you deserve peace. You deserve stillness. You deserve a moment of breath. And then there's self-talk, the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening. This is one of the most powerful tools of all. Anxiety often comes with harsh inner voices. You're weak. You're failing. You'll never get better. But what if your inner voice became your inner friend? What if you started saying, This is hard, but I'm handling it. I feel anxious, but I am safe. I'm proud of myself for trying. These words may feel unnatural at first, but with repetition, they become part of your inner environment. They become the walls of your safe space. You don't need a perfect life to feel safe. You just need consistent practices that bring your power back into your hands, your breath back into your chest, and your mind back into the moment. Because when you create a safe space within, you stop waiting for the world to calm down and start building peace that follows you wherever you go. Panic and fear are temporary. The future is still yours to create. Panic feels permanent when you're in it. Fear feels like it owns you, like it's carved its name into your chest and taken over. You are not waiting for your life to begin again once the fear goes away. You are living now. You are healing now. You are writing the next chapter now. Even with trembling hands and a heart that sometimes races without reason, you may not be able to erase the fear completely, but you can live through it. You can create beauty in the middle of it. You can love, grow, rebuild, and dream even while fear tries to sit in the passenger seat. Fear can be loud, but it doesn't get to drive. Not anymore. You have made it through moments you thought would destroy you. You've sat in silence, feeling like the panic would swallow you whole, and you survived. Not just once, but many times. So who's to say you can't continue moving forward? Who's to say your life is over just because fear showed up? It's not. It never was. Fear tries to shrink your world. It tries to convince you that you have to stay small, stay hidden, stay safe. It tells you to avoid people, places, experiences. It makes you build walls around your joy and fences around your future. But the truth is, you were not born to live a life ruled by avoidance. You were not designed to tiptoe through your years, measuring every move by how afraid it makes you feel. You are here to expand. You are here to create. You are here to become something that fear has no control over. And yes, that path might be uncomfortable. Yes, it might take everything you've got. But the life waiting for you on the other side of fear is bigger than anything you've left behind. You don't need to have it all figured out to begin. You don't need to be completely healed to take the next step. What you need is to believe truly. Believe that the fear you feel right now does not own your tomorrow. Your future is not being written by your anxiety. It's being written by your decisions, your courage, your resilience, your willingness to keep going even when the fear tells you to stop. You have more power than you realize. You have more chapters ahead than the fear would ever admit. You have more purpose, more love, more growth, more dreams still waiting for you. You may carry fear with you on the journey, but you are the one walking, not the fear, not the panic. You are creating your future not in spite of the struggle, but through it. That's what makes your journey extraordinary. That's what makes your story worth telling. The fear is temporary. The panic is passing. But the strength you're building, the truth you're learning, the peace you're claiming that is real, that is yours, and no matter how dark it feels right now, the future remains wide open in front of you. It's still yours, and you still get to choose what comes next. If you remember nothing else from everything you've just heard, Remember, this panic attacks and fear are not forever. They are not your identity. They are not your destiny. They are not the end of your story. They are chapters, yes, difficult ones, painful ones, terrifying ones, but not the whole book. You are the author. You are still holding the pen. And even when your hands shake, even when your heart pounds, even when your mind lies to you in the loudest voice you've ever known, you still get to decide what comes next. You have walked through invisible battles. You fought wars no one else could see. And yet, here you are, listening, learning, growing, healing. That is not weakness. That is strength most people will never understand. You faced the storm and you didn't run. Maybe you crawled. Maybe you cried. Maybe you broke down again and again. But you didn't give up. And that means something. That matters. You've learned to breathe when everything inside you screamed. You've learned to sit with fear and not let it steal your voice. You've begun to challenge the lies that once kept you trapped. You've started building a safe place inside yourself, a home where peace can live. Even if fear knocks on the door sometimes, you've stopped waiting to be completely healed before you live. You've realized healing is not a straight line, but a path you're walking with courage every single day. This is not about pretending you'll never be afraid again. This is not about perfection or never having another panic attack. This is about remembering who you are when it happens. It's about knowing you have tools. You have truth. You have a track record of survival and a future worth fighting for. You've done hard things, and you can do more. Not because you want the fear, but because you're no longer willing to let fear run your life. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are building. You are not weak. You are wildly, beautifully resilient. And the more you remember that, the more you begin to rise not above fear but through it, stronger than ever before. So when the panic rises again and it may breathe, come back to yourself, speak truth to your mind, ground yourself in the present, and remind yourself, this will pass. It always does. And when it does, I'll still be here in your memory, in your spirit, in your breath, reminding you that you are capable, you are healing, and your future still belongs to you. No matter how many times fear tries to steal your light, you are the one who keeps rising, again and again, quietly, bravely, fully, and that is what makes you unstoppable. Fear may visit, but freedom is where you're headed. And you, my friend, are not done yet.